Howdy, Immortalium here. Today I'm reviewing a series called The World God Only Knows. Now, if you're not familiar with the plot of this series, basically you have our lead character here, Keima. He is massively into visual novels, in particular dating sims, able to pick the correct choice all the time, be able to play it, complete it, really fast, etc, etc. He's the master, and he runs a website, a gaming website, called The God of Conquest. That's his title. And he gets an email one time, and in this email it says, "I've heard you can conquer any girl. So I have a girl in particular for you. So if you believe you can do this, hit the reply button." So he thinks, oh, it's a challenge. So he hits the reply button, and he's immediately locked into a contract with a cute little demon called Elsie, which is the girl at the back. And basically what they must do is they must get girls to fall in love with Keima, which will then allow the loose souls to go away from their heart, and Elsie can then capture them and, send them back to hell, or the demon world, or whatever. So, first of all, what are my opinions on this series? I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. There are definitely flaws involved which definitely impacted my enjoyment of the show, but overall it's good, So, let's get into it. So, first of all, the characters. I'm actually going to start off with Elsie because she's a bit easier to explain. She is the archetypal kind of ditzy girl, except she just happens to be a demon. So basically, she screws up a lot. Like, she might be making food, and she'll just think, oh, I'm making some nice food for Keima. I was about to give a spoiler there. And she'll make some food, give it to him. The thing is, it's demon food, so it has like all, moving, insects and all that jazz in it, so it looks horrible and atrocious, and all that. So she's mainly there for comedic relief as well as exposition. Decent character, you come to like her, but she's not particularly original. Now Keima, I'm actually surprised at how much I enjoyed him. When I first got into the series, I was wondering, could I connect to him, because he is so utterly antisocial, he is so utterly kind of full of himself. All he does really is play video games. But I actually ended up liking him, because first of all, he has a great chemistry with Elsie. Even though she may be cliche, he's not, but he bounces really well off her. It's a kind of smart man, stupid man kind of, a comedy duo. So I really enjoyed him, along with, the fact that he's mad into video games, and he then actually takes that kind of logic, video game logic, and tries to apply it to real life, which, doesn't always work out. So I actually liked him as a character. Might seem a bit odd, because he's certainly not the most obvious character to be liked, but I thought he was pretty good. I liked him. The animation itself, very nice. Not perfect, it's not as clean, crisp, animation all the time. But, I enjoyed it. I thought the animation was great. Also, I liked the music. But the main area I have to go into is the plot. Now, there are several issues I have with the plot. Now, keep in mind, this is a comedy. So, just because, it has these flaws, like these flaws might sink, drama. But because of the fact that this is a comedy, it manages to escape, the trap, I'll call it. So, first of all, first flaw is the fact that he must get these girls to fall in love with him. Now, I've watched this show, and I noticed that out of the 4 girls, in this show that he's supposed to make fall in love with him, only one could theoretically have actually fallen in love with him. Besides that, everyone else, it seems like he just solved their problem and then kissed them. That was it. So, I kind of found it a bit odd, I would have thought, it would be more logical, in this case, for the author. This is based on a manga, just to tell you, so anything to do with story is generally his. I would have thought the author, it would have been more logical for him to say, that you must solve this dilemma. And then the loose souls will be released, and then Elsie can capture them. Another thing about the plot that I have an issue with is the fact that we don't really know anything about these loose souls. I mean, we know that they're in these girls, but we don't really know if they do anything to these girls at all. The only reason that, you know, Elsie seems to want to collect them is because of the fact that they're, you know, they escaped from hell. So, you know, that I would have liked some more explanation on that. That's something that should have been explained in episode 1. You know, like that. If you look at the Hollows from Bleach, or you look at Shinigami from Death Note, or you know, look at most, you know, creatures or, you know, objects, like actually the Kishin eggs from Soul Eater as well. You know, those were all explained within episode 1. This, I watched all 12 episodes and I still don't know what the loose soul actually does. All I know is that it's a soul from hell, escaped, that's it. So, that annoys me. Another thing that I have an issue with is the fact that after Keima releases the loose soul, you know, he's kissed him and all that, and it's just been released, Elsie captures it, the girls then forget about Keima, which to me seems like a loss, like a lost opportunity. Now, from what I've heard, it sounds like the author must have viewed this as a lost opportunity as well. And I think the Goddesses arc, which I think is season 3 of World God Only Knows, you know, has the girls remembering, you know, all about, you know, Keima and, you know, what he did and all that jazz. But for the moment, they forget all about him. And I think that's a real lost opportunity, because I would have liked to see him kind of trying to balance everything. You know, he's just kissed these girls, you know, after solving their problem. And he's supposed to move on to the next one, you know. So I would have thought that, for one, that would have been a great kind of, you know, comedic point of view, because he might be trying to dodge all those other girls and make sure that they don't run into each other and all that jazz. And next, I think there's also a bit of drama lost there, and that's actually something that this series is sorely lacking: drama. This is a funny series, but it does lack drama. Now, I've been going on and on about, you know, my issues with the plot, which, you know, I guess, you know, I just want to kind of put out front. But, you know, there are a lot of things I like about it. I mean, I like the comedy in particular. I think, as I said before, I think Keima and Elsie have a great chemistry with each other. And plus, I also love the humor in it. Basically, I love the fact that he tries to, you know, get, you know, all the things he's learned from video games and tries to apply them to real life. Now, obviously, they succeed. But it's comedic because of the fact that quite often, you know, and particularly at the beginning, it doesn't work. Now, it is, again, it's an issue that all these girls happen to fit into the, you know, tropes that are quite often found in video games. But then again, that's kind of part of the humor. I mean, you wouldn't make Big Bang Theory without the cliche of the nerd, so I don't mind that personally. I mean, it would have been nicer, I guess, if the girls were less, you know, less of a cliche, and he was trying to fit them into a cliche, but that might have gotten a bit too complex. So I like the style of the humor. Plus, also, I thought this was very good. Now, basically, every so often when he's explaining something to Elsie, he'll kind of, all of a sudden, you'll get this kind of scene from an older anime. And as a man who looks into lots of older anime, might not necessarily watch older anime, but can be aware of them, I thought this was a great kind of pleasure to see. Like, in particular, I remember this one scene where he's explaining something to Elsie, and then all of a sudden it cuts away, and you see this kind of a house up on a mountain top, not a mountain top, a cliff top, and you just, like, a moment it cut in, I knew immediately it was referencing Blackjack. But I found it so hilarious because Keima put himself in the position of Blackjack and Elsie as Pinocchio, which I just found hilarious. So, basically, overall, there's not too much to say about this series. It's funny, it's enjoyable, but it's not brilliant. I hear that it has improved significantly in Season 3. I haven't heard too much about Season 2, so I will get Season 2, and I probably will get Season 3. The other thing to discuss is the extras. Now, you have your Texas opening and closing, that's a standard. This, though, can be a bit deceptive. Basically, according to the back of this box, it says, contains episodes 1 to 12 plus OVA. Now, from my understanding of the word OVA, generally that means a 20-minute episode that has been released onto, DVD or Blu-ray in Japan in order to get people to go out and buy the DVD or Blu-ray. What this is actually, what this OVA is, was actually a promotional item. Basically, it was released in one of the volumes of, the manga of God Only Knows in order to promote the anime. And basically, it's actually a minute and a half kind of prologue, you could say, of Elsie being given her assignment to, go to Earth and get the loose souls. So we actually do get to see a bit of, hell, or whatever the place is. It's a nice little scene, but it's only a minute and a half long. It's kind of deceptive, but it is good that they added it into this release. So in conclusion, I did enjoy The World God Only Knows. It's an enjoyable series with lots of great comedy, very nice animation, good music, etc., etc. But I do have an issue with some of its plot points. For instance, the fact that we have no idea what a loose soul is. We don't know anything about who Elsie is working for, except that we get to see them in that OVA. And the fact that, they must supposedly fall in love with him, despite, clearly not. But I am glad, I'd say, that in the Goddesses arc, which is season 3 of World God Only Knows, they sort out the other issue I had, which was the Girls Forgetting. So I will continue on with this series. I do want to get season 2 at some point. It's just not particularly high up on my priorities. So yeah, that's my review of The World God Only Knows. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye-bye.